All right, I'm here with Steve Newton and Saligh. Guys, SN Boxing going very well. I see you guys are very active in the gyms. Obviously, Edgemead, Deep River. You guys are building up a nice brand here. Steve, I'll start with you. You got a couple of fighters coming up?
Yeah. The guys have been busy, as you say. Jackie's been doing a good job here, Jackie Bryce. I think he's put on 5 or 6 shows already. And thankfully to him, he's giving our guys fights. Amadou Kalonji, Anele Hela, Jason Paul. So, Cape Town has had a long drought of boxing, professional boxing. So things are really looking good now with, with the activity. So we're happy. It's the only way to get our guys experience.
I don't know if it happens intentionally, but on sparring days, you usually have your guy versus your guy. Is that how it works in the gym, or how does it play out?
No, not necessarily. I think we obviously try to match the guys up with weight. You'll see, or you would have seen later on in the sparring today, that it was both the guys from, I don't want to say Deep River, I mean, remember, we were one brand. Yes. So it's more about the weight, we try to get enough sparring for the guy closest to his weight as possible. If it happens to be that it's a guy that trains with me and the guy that trains with him, which is good because he then develops the relationship or works on the chemistry and the relationship with his boxer in the corner, which is what you want. You want them to get used to that sort of communication and vice versa. But if it happens to be that nobody from like my side comes through and I'm here, then I'll help the boxer in the one corner and Steve will help the other boxer in his corner. Also depending on where the priority is. So one boxer might be in camp where the other isn't.
The reason I ask that is because it's a very unique situation where you got 2 guys under the same banner. Gyms are very particular. You usually got one person there, and you're speaking to that person. There's rivalry with that, but you guys work seamlessly together. And I guess whoever trains at whichever branch sort of takes the first position when you get to the corner on fight nights. Is that right?
Yeah. So that's it. If it's my guy, I'll be the chief second. And then, so some of the guys train at Edgemead, as you said, some at Deep River, and then I'll manage the guys. It's one team. We try to help each other out because we're under one banner.
Tell me about this. You got a fight card coming up. Obviously, Jason falls on that card. Any other fighters that you have coming up on August the 3rd?
We've got a super welter coming through, Bruce Lee. Also won his first fight.
Junior
welter, super light. Sorry. Coming through. Also fortunate to have a second fight in quick succession coming up on the 3rd. So it's him and Jason Fall, both looking for their second win.
Steve, what's your optimism for Western Cape boxing? In the recent past, it's not been so active, but it looks like the guys are coming together and putting on shows, and your guys are getting active now. What's your thoughts on the scene here?
Yeah, it's definitely, as it's picked up, the guys are starting to do a lot better. We've always had the talent here. It's just the activity, and guys have had to go to Joburg, to East London to get fights. Now we're able to build the experience here, not sort of getting them out of their depth, building them nicely, and then once we're ready to take those fights, we can step up. But because there's been such a dearth of boxing, we've had to take whatever we can get. I think in the next couple of years you'll see some of the guys coming up, winning SA titles. So it's looking good. We're very optimistic about the boxing here.
Fantastic. Saligh, from your side, I mean, literally like the same question, but I mean, you guys are developing 2 different styles. I imagine. I don't know if you guys do train the same style of boxing.
So I think our coaching styles differ. I think we approach things as we would personally to a degree. But what's good is that the way we prepare boxers is not necessarily according to our style, but the style of the fight coming up. We try to best prepare the boxer for what he's going to face, and I think that's the more important bit. In terms of our styles of coaching, we do differ, but we work as one team. So if I'm unsure of something, I'll go to Steve, or we'll chat about a particular fight coming up, see if the opponent is good. So all our decisions are made as a team. So if the guy's training with me, we'll look at it as a team. He'll give his input, I'll give my input, and then we'll try and implement that strategy together.
I'll keep the mic there. I just want to say, how's your relationship with other gyms within the province?
In the Western Cape, I think good. If there's anybody that has a bad relationship with me, DM me or something. But I think I've got a very good relationship with, I can't think of anybody that I have a bad relationship with. I think there's been amends made, but I'm good with everyone.
Steve, you're sometimes a bit of a controversial figure, aren't you? You know, you have had a couple of fallouts in the past. Now, are you on good terms with the guys in the boxing community here?
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, you got to put differences aside. There's a particular promoter which I think is not doing very good things in the Western Cape, and you know, we really aren't on good terms. We'll never be on good terms, but yeah, most of the guys, you know, it's boxing, so you'll fight and make up. But yeah, most of the gyms all good.
One thing I do like is that you're playing SA Boxing Talk in the background as well. I think more gyms need to start doing that, you know, drive a little bit of activity and, you know, get people to know about boxing. In the Western Cape in particular, have you felt that, you know, people are learning about, you know, sort of the other provinces, or is it just like in-house here, what you know is Western Cape is like kind of, you know, sheltered?
Sure. I think boxing in South Africa, particularly in the Western Cape and Gauteng, have two different audiences. Here you'll have people supporting either a gym or the boxer, where I think in Gauteng they support more boxing, so they'll come out, it's like an outing or an event. People in the industry have to actually learn about boxing outside of the province because they're bound to come up against the guys as competition. Yeah, it's a difficult question, I think. Well, within the boxing community, you have to know about the other provinces because then you're not really well informed. But from a fan's perspective, there's very few, I would say, that know even about Western Cape boxing, unless you're part of a professional stable or professional gym, rather. I doubt they're going to know much about boxing in South Africa. Sorry, and unless they've got some family member that was once, you know, an amateur heavyweight champion.
You always got a name drop, you know, if you're related to someone. Steve, what's the future of SN boxing? Yeah, if you could just tell us a little bit more about what's the plans.
Yeah, so we're wanting to obviously build our current guys up. As I said, with you know, signing to Jackie Bryce, we're getting a lot more fights, a lot more experience. The ratings are improving, and we're trying to keep it, you know, relatively small. In that, it's just, you know, if we do get a guy that wants to join and we can see a potential, we may do that. But it's, you know, to have too big of a stable is not necessarily going to work because we're going to, you know, it just spreads the net too far. So I think for the time being, you know, Amador's got a big fight coming up, 10-rounder. So we're preparing for that. I think he can go far. I think he's one of the best cruiserweights. Well, he's not from this country, but it resides here. You know, some of the other guys we got high hopes for, and it's just, you know, about building them, trying to get the local guys through the SA titles. You know, and as far as we can get with the other guys with the other you know, international bodies.
Hey, what is your thoughts on, like, I saw like a flashy boxer, Anele Hela as well. He looks like he's got something there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Anele is one of my favorite guys. He's got a lot of skill. Still quite young in the game. He's also young. I think he's only 22. So I think he's got a bright future. But we got to also build him slowly. He's got the potential, but we just need to be smart about it. Yeah.
And then you got a couple of young boxers as well, more so on your side, a younger sort of stable, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I've got Jason, Sammy. She's been a bit on and off. Jason, Sammy, Bruce Lee's quite young as well, Zimbabwean boxer, also quite talented. He's the super light that we were talking about earlier. Abdullah or Matthew Geldenes, the welterweight, has just joined us now, 3-0. He's also got 3 knockouts. To work with him, he's also fairly young, 24. Am I leaving anybody out?
No.
Yeah. For me, right now, the boxers have to get the basics right, perform that well, be comfortable in the ring, And I think after a couple of fights, we can see who's going to develop into, a champion boxer, and who's going to take their careers further. But right now, I mean, you could have all the talent in the world. It doesn't really mean much. Get the basics right, and later on, we'll see who's going to come through the ranks.
Right, and you guys are in an exciting phase of your career where you get to develop guys from ground up. What do you think?
Yeah, we're somewhat trying to work on an amateur system where guys come in, they express interest in boxing, they put in the work. If they come through the ranks, we get them, fights. One of our pro boxers, Calvin, will look after them, take them to the fights, and the guys that stay on the program or put in the work, they'll grow, and eventually, after a couple of years, Calvin being one of them actually, stayed on the program and now is a very talented professional. Hasn't had his first pro fight yet. But yeah, it is an exciting phase. It's a lot more to work with because you're developing from the ground up, but at least you're the one contributing to the foundation phase of that boxer's career, which you should be confident in that ability. Yeah.
A change from the last time, Steve, is that I know you wanted to work at a smaller stable previously. It looks like you are expanding a bit because of the opportunities that maybe have arisen. Is that the case?
Yeah. So look, as I said, we want to look at guys that we think have potential. We won't just take anyone on, but there are opportunities. But say we get 3 guys on the next bill, it'll be difficult to get those 3 or those 2 and then another 2 on the following bill. So as I stated, we want to try and work with guys that we think have a future. We can build them nicely and not just take on guys just for the fun of it that aren't dedicated. We got to see something special in the guys, and I think that's what our guys show. I think the personalities, you also got to work with a guy that's got a personality that fits. And yeah, at the moment that's all good.
My battery's about to run out. So you guys want to send any last messages, just each from one of you guys? Both of you guys can just send a last message to the South African boxing public.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks to SA Boxing Talk for coming to Cape Town, doing interviews with all the teams. Looking forward to a good year in boxing. We've got some good boxers coming up. World title fights, eliminators. So things are looking good.
Yeah, I think Steve covered most of it, and Bryce was also made some good mention of, I think, foundation, getting the foundation right. A quick message to all professional boxers: just invest in yourself, do some good research into proper nutrition, strength and conditioning, different phases of training, and educate yourself. Cool.